You can help me interview these ladies today by joining me on SMS 8040, on Twitter at Noah Otieno or at KTN Kenya, on Facebook, facebook.com/KTN Kenya. Today in studio with me, I have one lady who's never ever appeared in a live TV interview anywhere in Kenya, Ms. Ruth Adhiambo Odinga. I'm glad, I'm privileged to have her here with me. I also have a tough lady from Kisumu County, a lawyer by profession, Madam Christine Atieno Otieno. And we'll start with her. Madam Christine, please introduce yourself to the people of Kenya. Whose taxes will be paying you? Whose taxes you'll be managing if you become governor of Kisumu County? Who are you and what is your background and training?
Thank you very much, Mr. Noah Otieno. I am Christine Atieno Otieno. I am an advocate by profession. I'm a mother of 3, married. I know as a fact that I've been before involved in management. I'm in the board of Highway Secondary School. I'm in the board of Onjiko Secondary School. I'm in the board of St. Christopher's Ayueo Secondary School. I'm the founding patron of Ogal Secondary School. I also sponsor 7 primary schools in Kisumu County. I am the chair lady of AIC Plainsview Church. I am also the national executive of the National AIC Church for the building of their conference center. I have worked before with the community, the women groups. I have worked with the girl child. I'm a member of NEWI, where we formed a group and said we must be involved in Kisumu County in the education of the girls. And now we are also involved in the education of the boys and the youth groups. And I know for a fact that I'm responsible, that I'm disciplined, and that I can be able to take Kisumu County to the level where it needs to be.
Madam Ruth, many people will just want to tag you. They don't want to see or hear about Ruth Odinga. They want to hear about Ruth Odinga, the Prime Minister's sister. Are you your own person? Who are you and what is your training? How would the people of Kisumu County differentiate you from the enigmatic Raila Odinga?
I'm Jaramogi Oginga Odinga. Well, my name is Ruth Adhiambo Odinga. My parents come from Bondo. I was born in Kisumu, schooled in Kisumu, from Victoria Primary to Saverian Primary, to then on to Asumbi Girls, then to Kenya High, where I did my O-levels and then part of my A-levels. I then went on to study in Zimbabwe, where after the 1982 coup, I went into exile and studied in Zimbabwe. And from Zimbabwe on to Norway. I'm a product of the University of Oslo, where I did social sciences, majoring in economics and sociology, and a postgraduate certificate in development studies. From there, I moved on to the Gambia, where I taught at Marina High School, one of the best schools in the Gambia, a school where Fatou Bensouda was actually a board of governor. I then left there, went to England, worked in England for various organizations as a development officer and a senior development manager, even with one of the councils in England. Then came back to Kenya, where I have worked as a MD for a petroleum company called Petroplus, and after which I then got into Spectre International, where I am presently the CEO of the company.
We'll start right there where you've reached. Many people think that, or believe, many people who've grown up in Kisumu, who've lived in Kisumu, who understand Kisumu County, and people who've watched your family and read the history of your family, they believe that Madam Ruth Odinga has been eating life with a big spoon from the time she was born, and there's no way she can understand the problems of the Atienos and the Otienos in the slums of Kisumu County, in the rural areas of Kisumu County. What would you say to that?
First of all, that would be a very funny notion, because from the belief of my father and from where I come from, we were brought up as ordinary people. I never even went to Aga Khan Primary. I actually went to Saverian Primary. I went to Asumbi Girls, where I had got the points that I would have gone to Kenya High, But my dad said that I had to go to the school where everybody else was going in Nyanza. And so I went to Asumbi Girls High School. I have worked hard. I never had anything for free. I had to pass my exams. I've been in exile, as I've told you, lived in a foreign country, in Zimbabwe, went on to Norway, where I lived in the north of Norway. And then from there, went into Oslo University. There I was on my own, studied, finished. I've lived in the Gambia. I've lived in other foreign countries, making a living. There was nothing given for me for free. I've applied for the jobs which I've worked, where I've worked. I came in with independent investors to work in Kenya. I was never given that. In fact, those same investors are the ones who have brought into Kisumu to actually start that investment in Kisumu. I'm competent. I work with the people of Kisumu. I am actually living there. I've got my home in Nyahera, where I've actually built one of the biggest restaurants, which is called a country club, which is very well known there. I'm the chair lady of Nyahera Health Center, which I brought from Health Center to Nyahera Sub-District Hospital, and hopefully will make it become Nyahera District Hospital. I have built a big market with the help of the local government for the women of Nyahera, brought in a police post for security in Nyahera. I have done a lot. I'm in a lot of the boards in the schools up in Nyahera, also down. I've done a lot for the women groups that are starting all the way from Bandani, around the Spectre. As the CEO of Spectre, I've done a lot, especially labor-wise. Spectre has never had any issue with labor. I deal with the CBA. I've just signed the latest CBA with the unions, and Spectre, I think, is one of the biggest investments that are in Kisumu County, and I've been working hard and driving it, which I think the Kisumu people are quite aware of.
We'll come back to that. Madam Otieno, as a lawyer, you will speak well, and you might get away with a lot when you are on a podium with your competitors. But how do you understand the problems of the youth of Kisumu? Because you've been in boards of almost all the popular schools that I know of in Kisumu County. These young people, you see them graduate from Form 4 after KCSE. Then you see them, you meet them in the streets, they are hawking. They're part of dangerous gangs. They're being used by politicians. They don't have credit facilities to help them start serious businesses. So people say that Kisumu County is owned by outsiders. People work for outsiders. When outsiders leave, for example, in 2007, 2008, post-election violence, Kisumu shuts down. What is your understanding of the problem facing the youth of Kisumu County?
Thank you, Mr. Otieno. I know, I understand, and appreciate the problems in Kisumu County as a whole. I was born in the lake shores of Lake Victoria, just near the town, about 25 kilometers from the town. I grew up in Manyata slums, and that is Kisumu East constituency right now. I went to school in Kisumu Central constituency. I have interacted all my life with the less fortunate of Kisumu County. So I know and I appreciate on first-hand basis the real traumas that the poor and the unfortunate people of Kisumu County have to go through. So as a member of that community who grew up among the very less unfortunate Kisumu residents, because as I told you, I grew up in Manyata slums when there were no roads and there were no lights and there were no toilets. So I know firsthand, and I interact with the groups, the youth who have gone through this trauma, which I also went through as a young person. So for a fact, I know that Kisumu residents do not want things being done for them, and the youth do not want things being done for them. Because if we keep doing things for our people, that is the root cause of the problem. I believe in people's participation. The youth need to participate effectively in how they are going to get out of the quagmire that they are in right now. Because if I position myself to say, I will build for you roads, I will build for you market, I will build for you hospitals. That is the exact problem we are trying to run away from. The government of Kenya and now the governor of Kisumu County will just facilitate how we work from down going up. I believe in people's participation, and people, the citizens need to be responsible for the life they want to achieve. And what we need is fair leadership, so that each and every youth group can have the confidence of saying, this is what we want to do as a border group. We want to own this border, and my role will be now to advise them in partnership with other people that the best way to have sustainability is go it this way. Because good governance and sustainability are, you cannot separate those two. You must be able to have good governance to sustain any sorts of development. So I totally disagree, I humbly disagree that youth need things to be done for them. All we need to do, it doesn't matter the amount of charity that you give us, it doesn't matter. We will never do well if we don't cultivate the culture of do it yourself. And that is where we even have the Citizens Forum in the Constitution, that the citizens must now determine and state this is what we want to do, and my role will be to facilitate and give good guidance and give proper direction to be able to achieve what we want. So I humbly believe that we should never do things for the people. They should do it themselves. Just direct the correct way to do it.
We want to pick it up from there. Ruth, you grew up in Kisumu, you schooled there. What is your understanding of the genesis of the notion she's talking about, the problem of Kisumu County? People feel that, okay, we want to do it for ourselves, but we've been disenfranchised for so many years. We've never had opportunities. We don't have industries. We don't have the land. We don't have the credit. But what is your understanding of the problem? What creates this poverty, either poverty economically or poverty of thought? What makes people unable to develop themselves in Kisumu County?
Actually, no, the problem of Kisumu County is quite complex. The poverty you're talking about is cyclical, and there's been a lot of bad policies and bad governance for Kisumu as a whole. As an investor, and one of the largest investors in Kisumu County, I believe that, yes, we will have the participation of the people, but before that, we must look at the economy of Kisumu County as a whole. Kisumu has got a wealth of we've got a lot of wealth in Kisumu that needs just to be developed. We have the investment opportunities. Me, as an investor in Kisumu, I'll tell you that we need, first of all, to look at all the kind of industries that already we have on ground, some of which have now been stalled. Let's look at how we can create jobs for these youth that you're talking about. I will tackle first the investment opportunities of Kisumu County. And I would start off, first of all, my biggest dream is that Kisumu County of recent has seen some investment coming in. One of them, the Kisumu Airport. And as you know, Kisumu International Airport, not Kisumu Airport. As you know that for any development, infrastructure is very, very important. And my dream is actually that I have seen the challenges that we have as a county, and I would say that I would like to first tackle the infrastructure of Kisumu, making Kisumu become the hub of the East African region. It's my passionate belief that it can be done. That Kisumu Airport is actually very strategically placed. Where it is, with also the land, the roads, the infrastructure we're having, the northern corridor that's bringing in the highways that are going to pass all the way to the borders. If you know now, Kisumu was the first international airport for the whole of Africa, with the first amphibian plane coming in, taking mail up to South Africa. At this particular point, Kisumu is where you find that all the airways that are passing from Europe, other parts of Africa, go over Kisumu. That's the route into Nairobi. Then they come from Nairobi, to the other countries, especially the other Eastern African countries, the COMESA region. I believe that if we want Kisumu Airport not to become a white elephant, we should make it an international regional airport, where we'll have all the planes that are coming from Europe that need to go to the other East African COMESA region, landing in Kisumu. Once they've landed in Kisumu, they are now then directed by the, I've heard that we are also going, we can bring in this budget airlines, have them come in. From there, we now ferry everybody to the East African region, therefore making Kisumu becoming one. It's important that we must develop that cargo section. By developing the cargo section, because an international passenger airport is not what we really want, it's the cargo section, where all the goods are going to come to Kisumu. Once we do that, we have the goods that are going to the COMESA region, coming from Kisumu, through Busia, and then Kisumu as a town becomes the place, that the hub for the customs for the Eastern African region. This is going to even open ways. Right now, you see the clogging we have at Busia, at Malaba, for all the products, because they still have to pass through Kisumu. Why can't we clear everything in Kisumu and then let it go, so that we remove all the non-tariff barriers that are hampering trade within the East African region, and have a big hotel, tourist hotel, built in Kisumu. Right now, all the customers I know as an investor who are coming to do business with me have to fly to Nairobi, then back to Kisumu, and then go back to Nairobi sometimes because all the hotels in Kisumu are full. We can't have conference facilities in Kisumu. Last time when we were supposed to have the Lake Region conference, whatever, they had to be moved to Nairobi because there were not enough hotels, not hotels with enough conference facilities. We look at that. For me, if I did that with an airport that's coming, first of all, it will open to a lot of jobs. We will then open to a lot of trade in the Eastern region, and it will make Kisumu actually very relevant. With the waterways, we will then now use, I'm the only investor right now that is using the waterways to import some of my product from Bukoba to Kisumu. The use of the port, the Kenya Ports Authority, we will then use that Kisumu harbor, ferry all the other goods that are coming in through cargo to Mwanza, Bukoba, Jinja, through the lake. So Kisumu is so strategically placed to become not only a county of its own, whatever, but the East African regional point.
So big business, and the people who do big business will understand what you're talking about.
Yeah, and then, but this, I'm creating jobs meanwhile. All the hotels I'm talking about, with all the cargo section. You know, cargo, if you've been to Nairobi cargo section, it is creating a lot of jobs. Look at then I'm thinking of all the businesses that are already there, because I sit there, I'm in Kisumu, I'm a business person. You know, we talk about job insecurity, lack of jobs, and then that leads you to insecurity. For example, we say, oh, there's a lot of insecurity. Mainly we talk about it being that there are gangs formed, the youth are not doing much. But we should also look at the other side, the disciplinary force in Kisumu. Yeah? We must build people's confidence back, and the business community, because if you want investors to come in, they must be able to have that assurance that they are going to be protected as investors, that the investments are going to be taken care of. And the disciplinary forces in Kisumu right now, the business community and the people of Kisumu don't have much faith. And that is one of the things you need to do, even if you want to attract any investment or even revive any of the factories that we have, or even the sugar industry.
And we'll come back on the sugar industry. I'll give you a chance to deal with that issue, because bringing people in through the Kisumu International Airport, because I know Eldoret has had a good airport as well for a long time. But the challenge has been, and the question people have been asking about Kisumu County, very well, we'll bring people in. They'll fly in and then go wherever they're going. But other than making Kisumu a big supermarket for these people who are passing, what will people give to the world?
That exactly is the problem, Mr. Otieno. For the businessman who is flying in from London, from Dubai, that kind of system is fine with them, just develop. But what we are interested in is the common man in Kisumu. That airport, as it is right now, is useless to them. We need a situation where the normal person in Kisumu needs to know how will this airport affect my life? Therefore, we need to empower them to do what is right, get into horticulture, get into tourism that will benefit them directly and put money into the poor man's pocket. If we are going to talk about just the international arrivals and the cargoes and that kind of group, that is okay with that class. We also appreciate that class. We are not having anything against that class. But to build a sustainable development, to build a sustainable economy, the man in Kondele, the man in Manyata, the man in Nyalenda, the man in Hippo Point and Ogal Beach, and the man in Andingopanga, and the farmer in Fortanan, and the sugarcane growers in Muhoroni, and the rice field workers must feel that they can use that airport. For now, they don't feel it. And that's why we are saying, as a governor, I need the masses to feel that this is what we have and this is how we can achieve it. What is important is putting a clear, shared vision for the whole of Kisumu County. Once the